Brenda with us? There she is. Good afternoon, Brenda.
Good afternoon, everybody. That's not my formal greeting. That's just my hi. All right, let me see if I've got everybody here. I think I do. Are we ready, team?
Yes, go ahead.
All right. Good afternoon, Madam Chairwoman, Council, and listening members of the community. Thank you so much for allowing me, Brenda Ritchie, to speak with you today. I am the Flathead Reservation Extension Agent for Montana State University, and I'm super excited to be reporting to you today on 5 different research projects we currently have going on our reservation. Maddie, go ahead if you want to bring up our PowerPoint and share your screen. That was perfect. Council members, you will find our PowerPoint presentation on page 34, starting on page 34, going through 50 for you. We may also be joined later by Kayanne Miller, who with the time change a little bit, kind of might not be able to be here quite on time. She is actually teaching a seed saving and restoration lesson on the Indigenous Heritage Gardens. And so she's doing some work there this afternoon and is going to do her best to phone in on her phone. So if we can keep a lookout for her to enter the waiting room, that would be great. As I mentioned before, these are research projects that at some point have been presented to council. We felt like it was important to come back to council at the end of summer and give you and the community a little update on the information that has been gathered, what it looks like, where we're going. All of these projects have to do with food sovereignty and addressing food insecurities through an Indigenous scope. So I am super excited to have my team with me today. If we can go to the next slide, Maddie. Before we get going on our formal presentation, we do want to recognize as a team from Montana State University and your extension service that we understand we are here to serve the Confederated Salish, Pondere, and Kootenai people, and that this is a sovereign land and a sovereign government. We're grateful for the ability to collaborate and your willingness to hear us out today, offer your advice and your suggestions as we move forward with our work. We appreciate your time. Okay, on our next slide, we're going to go ahead and turn our time over to Dr. Wan Yuan Kuhl. She is the head of these research projects that we are currently working on. And she's going to tell you a little bit about herself and her master's and PhD students and the work that they are doing. Dr. Kuhl?
Yes, thank you so much, Brenda, for the introduction. Good afternoon, Chairwoman and Council members. My name is Wan Yuan Kuo. Thank you so much for the opportunity for me and my students to present with Brenda Ritchie. So today, our purpose is to introduce ourselves, also to introduce the previous and present work that we conduct and am conducting with CSKT community members, and also the opportunity for future collaborations. Most importantly, we would like to request your guidance, your insight, input, suggestions, critiques, ideas, and approval permissions to guide us through what we propose to do to support the food sovereignty through our knowledge of food science, food product development, nutrition, community health, and community ecology. So a little bit about myself. My name is Wan Yuan. The meaning is princess like a jade in my language in Mandarin. My last name is Kuo. I came from Taiwan, spent my 26 years, did my undergraduate research and learning in agricultural chemistry in National Taiwan University, before I moved to Illinois to conduct my doctoral study in sodium reduction in cheese product under a USDA National Institute of Food and Agriculture grant. So in 2016, I got my PhD in food science and human nutrition in the area of value-added processing, food engineering, sensory evaluation, and product development. Then I conducted a postdoctoral research aiming at food fortification for malnourished populations in developing countries. Then in 2018, I got hired by Montana State University to become a food science assistant professor under the program of hospitality management, also a faculty member of graduate program of sustainable food system. Now I am the director of food product development lab. Our lab mission is to develop food products that are healthy for both human beings and the earth. So Maddie, next, please. Because of this mission of developing good food products for both humans and the earth, we established 3 major programs. Specialty crops, for example, lentils, chickpeas, and making these environmental and nutrition-friendly crops into healthful food products such as lentil pasta or chickpea puffs. We also have farm to campus programs supporting Montana local, rural, or tribal enterprise using our food science, food safety knowledge to support their product development and quality improvement or testing or measurement so that they are as competitive as big brand in terms of selling their product nationally or through the farm to school or farm to the campus program. Our third program of focus is indigenous food. We are working with 2 major communities. One is the Senegal smallholder women farmers. We have already established peanut nutrition bars that we are at the stage of commercialization using Senegal indigenous plants so that the bar carries the indigenous knowledge and nutrition and deliver to Senegal school. In 2018, we started collaborating with CSKT entity. We started reaching out to native fish keepers because their operational model is a very ideal model for us to demonstrate to MSU students there is opportunity to take care of the environment while working on food enterprise, selling food product, because they are mitigating the lake trout number, the population in the lake, and they are selling the fish fillet. So we, as our lab in my class, we work with them through developing the lake trout fillet into a smoked lake trout product. And this lake trout product recipe has been developed, and also the relevant, the fish taco recipe using the tribal memories, the food memories, culinary traditions, and culture and knowledge sharing from the tribal members that students learn from the CSKT community. They developed this product, and we're going to later present. Havilah is going to talk a bit more about that. We also continue the collaboration with Salish Kootenai College to look at the feasibility and community members' interest on the lake trout. Last year, our team, with the support of many community members, including Brenda, we received the Western Sustainable Agriculture Research and Education Grant to be able to launch a bigger collaboration, including collaboration with SKC again, and now Boys and Girls Club, and tribal members on the production side of beef and cattle to launch bison or beef product development for the purpose of providing good and culturally relevant product to schools. Lastly, we also have the 2 graduate students that join us, Maddie and Hinesis. They will each present their project that is embedded within the Western SARE program. And then in the future, we are taking one first PhD student in our team working with the Flathead Reservation to work on how indigenous food can have a impact, benefit to the physical and mental well-being through working with many tribal health related entities and well-being related entities such as tribal health. So this is a brief intro of what our lab has been doing and proposed to do. Next, I will move forward to the next slide for our students to each introduce themselves and the project they are involved in. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Cole. That's wonderful. We're so excited to have you and your team here. And I know I get so excited and passionate about the work that you are doing and the wonderful, yummy things that they are coming up with. And so I can't wait for them to get to share their story. This slide here is regarding a grant that I applied for about 1.5 years ago. I did seek tribal council support in doing that, and thank you, you did offer that. We did receive the grant. This is a grant through the Native American Agriculture Fund, and it was to support us bringing in a graduate student who would help with a research project, doing some surveys with tribal producers and then local purchasers, whether they were a commercial purchaser, such as local grocery stores, or a private consumer, as in our homes and our families. What is it that all three of these are interested in producing, buying, and selling? And gathering some data and some research with the idea that that would help me as your FRTEP agent move forward with a better understanding of what my community would like to see from extension. So that's just a little bit of the history on this NAF grant. Maddie Griswold has been and will continue to be the graduate student that we've hired as the intern that's going to help collect this data. At this time, we are currently within the SKC IRB process, and so we have not formally collected any data, just had some informal conversations across the state of Montana. This was a multi-FRTEP office grant, so all 4 of us FRTEP agents came together in on this. And as a reminder, I forget this sometimes, FRTEP is your federally recognized tribal extension program. And so Maddie, I'm going to turn this slide over to you now. If you could please share with us just a little bit about what you have been working on this summer within regards to this NAF grant, and we'll let you take it from there, my friend.
Hi, everyone. My name is Maddie Griswold. Thank you, Brenda. I grew up in Idaho, but I've been living in the Bozeman area for the past several years and working to support local food systems. I'm going to provide a more in-depth introduction of myself in just a few slides. But I just wanted to give you a brief rundown of what I've been up to this summer. And so, like Brenda said, I'm currently interning with MSU Extension and the FRTEP offices across the state. And I have been a guest on the Flathead Reservation this summer, and I've also traveled to Fort Belknap and Fort Peck. I have not made it up to the Blackfeet yet, but I hope to this fall sometime. And my role this summer has been to in a more informal setting, so not collecting any data, just listening to FRTEP agents in these different communities, as well as some community members, just to learn about some of the strengths and challenges within local food systems in each community, and also to brainstorm ideas about how MSU FRTEP can better support local food systems in these communities. Like Brenda said, we're currently waiting for IRB approval. So if we get the go-ahead, I plan to continue assisting the FRTEP agents with more formal surveys and interviews this fall, and with data analysis in the future. And something else I've been working on is creating some resource lists of different oftentimes online, or educational or funding resources that may be relevant and useful tools for tribal communities. So I hope that that can be something that can be shared as we move forward.
Hi, I'm Havilah Burton. Thank you, Dr. Kuo, for the introduction a little bit ago. A little bit about myself. I grew up here on the Flathead Reservation and really didn't understand a lot of the things that go with that. And I feel like I was a guest on the reservation without much knowledge about what that meant. So coming back to the reservation, I spent about 15 years in Washington in between, and moving back, I really wanted to be a better guest and a better citizen. Grateful that I've had a chance to learn from and collaborate with all these different entities, and something that I would really like to be part of more in the future.
I think we lost your sound.
Oh, thank you. Is that better? Can you hear me now?
We can hear you, Havilah, but it's really faint. You might need to get closer to your mic.
I'll try this. Is that better?
That's a little better. Yep.
Okay. So I am now moved back to Polson, and I'm excited to be part of the food sovereignty movement on the Flathead Indian Reservation, and would like to offer my support and help in any way that I can. And I'm going to tell you just a little bit about what I did while I was at MSU and how I worked with the Food Product Development Lab on the smoked fish project. So we could go ahead into the next slide, Maddie. So our research, I kind of took over research after Dr. Kuo's original class in 2019 and worked in the 2020 and 21 school year in a collaboration with Salish and Kootenai College about developing the smoked fish product that they came up with into a marketable item on the reservation and outside of the reservation. My premise was that I love to see the work Native fish keepers are doing. I love to see the product that they've put out. And I feel like most Montanans don't know that it exists. And while there is a market for this product on the reservation, I think that there could also be a market for it outside of the reservation. But I wanted to kind of pose that question about the appropriateness of that to tribal members, and then also find out if there was a market for the smoked fish product, on the reservation and off. So that was kind of the premise of what I was working with. And then, so we did a survey of both Native and non-Native peoples in Montana, and then also a focus group later on that ended up being primarily Native people, which was super exciting and fun. It was either Native people or people who work with the tribes. Brenda was part of our focus group. It was super fun to hear some of her ideas and input there. And then we had people from the college and community in different aspects. So it was really great to hear from people. And one thing that really impacted me and I felt was super helpful was hearing from Native people the difficulty that they have with marketing a Native food, because Native foods are often relationship based and symbiotic in nature. And that's something that I had not heard and learned much about. And it was really important to hear that and hear from Native people those very important food issues related to marketing a food product. The people that we heard from in our focus group, however, were saying that the lake trout isn't considered a native product because it's an invasive species, but they did feel comfortable labeling a product that the Native people have, like the Native fish keepers fishes the trout out of the lake. And then if a Native person were to produce the smoked fish product, they would be happy to call that a Native produced product and could use the Native made and the Made in Montana sticker on a product like that. So I thought those were really valuable distinctions that were being made, and something that the smoked fish wasn't something that the people in the focus group felt any problem with sharing with people outside the reservation, whereas some other Native foods, they had a harder time wanting to share. And I really appreciated that and respect that differentiation there. So that was a lot of what we did. And a lot of those results either have been shared with you guys or we would like to share with you in the future. Thank you.
Hello, I'm back. So once again, my name is Maddie Griswold. I grew up in the Sawtooth Valley in South Central Idaho. My parents are both fish biologists, but we were caretakers of a remote cattle ranch. And I was homeschooled as a kid, and my parents taught me a lot about our connections to land through the food that we hunted, fished, grew, and gathered. And these experiences from my childhood have really guided my path to pursue an undergraduate education in environmental studies about almost 10 years ago, and to volunteer on multiple farms around the world, to support some different community garden projects, to work at a food bank, and now to my current journey in the Sustainable Food Systems graduate program at Montana State University. So through, as Dr. Cool described earlier, through some of the previous research collaboration with CSKT and our research lab, a need has been expressed by community members to develop a sustainable ecological and economical model that can support cattle and bison producers while also supporting youth nutrition in school meal programs. And so for my thesis work, which will be ongoing for the next 1.5 years, it is my hope to explore some of the opportunities and barriers for creating such a model on the Flathead Reservation. However, I recognize that this can only be done in collaboration with the community here. So it's my goal that whatever comes of this project will be relevant, useful, and can support the food sovereignty goals of this community. To conduct this research in the future, I will seek IRB approval with the intention of conducting surveys and interviews with cattle and bison producers, managers of the National Bison Range, local meat processors and distributors, school meal program coordinators, parents, youth, and anyone else that you recommend. Thank you. Now I'll pass it to, I believe, Genesis.
Hello. My name is, I just wanted to make sure, is my audio working?
Yes, Genesis, we can hear you.
Okay. Hello, Tribal Council and Chairwoman. It's a pleasure for me to be here and to be part of this team. My name is Genesis Chavez. I was born and raised in the North Pacific coast of Nicaragua. I'm an international student in the United States and I guess in the Flathead Reservation. I have always been passionate about culture, and I learned to dance Nicaraguan folklore at the age of 6. And since that, I've been performing cultural dances for more than 10 years. After that, I decided to pursue a degree in food science and technology as a manner for me to prepare myself with the technical knowledge to be able to serve for improve the food systems after witnessing inequalities in my hometown. My long-term goal is to become an advocate for safe, healthy, nutritious food and inclusive food systems that can really encompasses every interactor in this whole system, since consumers, producers, and the environment should work as one force. Moving forward to the next slide. This time, I'm proposing a collaboration with the Flathead Reservation. This is research that has already submitted the IRB application in order to be allowed to partner with the Boys and Girls Club. And in this time, I'm requesting your support and your insight. As Dr. Q said earlier, our research here are to serve the community and to provide resources in a respectful manner, and also to empower youth. In this time, we want to co-develop an indigenous-inspired nutrient-dense snack with the Boys and Girls Club. This research is aiming to identify the cultural linkages among ingredients that has been used in the past as part of the Native American diet, and these ingredients will be incorporated in the product formulation. Moving forward, we will gather these ideas from youth to build a product concept that will have a singular identity, and to create a sense of ownership of youth at the Flathead Reservation. We will facilitate interactive learning activities that will promote the consumption of this snack, and on the other hand, will propose them multiple activities in which we will be able to observe product making demonstrations, to understand the importance of bison's presence in the Flathead Reservation and these cultural linkages with the culture in the food heritage. The goals of this research are to co-develop the snack utilizing locally sourced ingredients, to create a sense of ownership and pride by engaging youth in the development process, and to propose these as a value-added product that will foster the local economy, which furthermore, it will advance once we have the IRB approved, and to support the local economy by utilizing products that are locally grown and locally commercialized. Thank you.
Can anybody tell me if Kayanne has been able to call in on her phone? As I mentioned earlier, she was teaching a class at the Indigenous Heritage Gardens on seed saving. And so she wasn't sure if she would be able to make it on time. If she is not with us, I am wondering, Dr. Cool, would you be willing to chat a bit about Kayanne Miller and her PhD work and what it is, how she is tying food sovereignty and security to mental health and the projects that she's doing here?
It
Absolutely.
looks like she's on the call.
Yeah, she's on the call.
Yay! Okay.
I wasn't sure if she can hear us because she's joining on a site that may not have considered. Kayanne, can you hear us? Doesn't look like she has stable enough connection. I saw her,
Okay.
but not hear from her. So I will go ahead. If she can jump in, we'll let her speak for herself. But Kayanne is the first PhD student that is going to start working in our research team that focus on supporting the food sovereignty of the Flathead Reservation. So her project is relating to native food and mental health. So Kayanne is in. Would you like to unmute yourself so that we can hear you? Because she literally just texted me. Okay, we still didn't hear from her. So I'm going to continue until she hopefully we can hear from her in the end. So Kayanne grew up in Wyoming and Colorado. Her dad's side, her grandpa was Potawatomi. Her mom is mostly German. And when she was growing up, she thought everybody ate like their family did, foraging, gathering, until she moved out and then realized that the entire food system has been a lot of altered by the food industry. So there's a history of suicide in her family. So that motivated her to ask for the opportunity to explore with all of you that are here, whether indigenous foods, like the food that she used to eat, if she can be using those as a protective factor in suicide prevention. Oh, she texted me that she needs to be unmuted.
If she's on a mobile device, she needs to unmute twice, so it's *6 to unmute.
*6 to unmute yourself, Ken. Thank you for that. So it doesn't look like she's unmuted yet. Ken, can you hear us? *6. Otherwise, I'm going to continue to the next slide. So her proposed PhD thesis collaboration with the community of Flathead Reservation would be to explore the potential role of indigenous diet as a protective factor in suicide prevention. So here, she is hoping to seek approval to explore whether there's an interest from our CSKT community on this topic among potential collaborators. She already reached out to several tribal mental and physical related entities, including the Tribal Health Department, Recent Leave Native, SKC Nursing, and then community mental health and physical health, including the Dr. Desiree Fox and Katie Burton, youth organizations, including Boys and Girls Club, and then the Elders Advisory Council and Culture Committees, also representative of each of the 8 districts. So she's asking if there's any other tribal health, mental or physical health entity that you would recommend she reach out to. Please guide us, let us know. Her goal is to build collaboration from the group and other groups that you recommend to ensure community goals are included in her proposed research and outreach project. So she will propose to collectively with the community members determine the measures such as biomarkers or non-biomarker, non-bio-based measurements for suicide ideation and depression that are culturally relevant and appropriate. She will work with council elders and cultural council and others to determine the most culturally appropriate indigenous diet that she should use, and then design, again, with the community members, the indigenous food intervention to collectively see if these provision of indigenous food and their knowledge, the nutrition can change in a beneficial way. I'm sorry that I have to speak for Kay, and she's done so much work on this. I don't know if there's a way that she can unmute herself, but that's overall Kayan's project. So I'll give it back to Brenda, and we are humble and wanting to hear your guidance and questions of all these projects that we just proposed. Oh, and by the way, Havilah is going to mention our upcoming presentation.
Thank you so much, Dr. Cool. And Havilah is going to talk about this slide here. But as a footnote to the others' presentations, they did put together a gifting for council that was left at the front desk earlier today that has some of the product and some of the foods that they're looking at working with. And so if council would please know, there is a gifting for you outside at the front desk that relates directly to the work, the research, and the products that they are developing. Havilah?
So I just, excuse me, I just want to say a quick thank you again to the council. And we would love to be able to present some of our findings specifically with the smoked fish product and the research that we did around that with the marketability and working with the tribes and the community college on the marketing and the appropriateness of marketing native food products to the Food Sovereignty Symposium in September of this year. We would love your blessing for us to go do that and permission. And I hear that Shelley may be going with us, which would thrill my heart. I would be so delighted. So I just wanted to give a shout out for that and acknowledgement as well.
Well, thank you. We are in receipt of your lovely gifts, and we just thank you for that. That was really thoughtful. I'll just start off. One of the things, or one of the, I think, groups that you could connect with is our food sovereignty team led by Jordan Thompson. I asked him to tune in today to watch your presentation. So hopefully can you guys hear me? Oh, it said unmute yourself. So Jordan was going to join in today and watch the presentations. So he has a whole team of, I guess, foodies, food experts, some in the egg, some in the water, some in the indigenous food arenas that he's been working with for almost 2 years now. So I think that would be a group, and I can introduce you to Jordan if you don't know him already. And I just wanted to comment on the smoked fish project. Early on, I connected with the MSU food development program and had the pleasure of, watching that product develop, and I got invited to go at the end and actually sample the smoked fish products that they had made. And it was really interesting because people were from all different backgrounds. It wasn't just food science. I want to say there was like even an engineer there or something in that first class. But yeah, they developed these 2 food products. One was a street taco, and the other one was a fish taco. And the actual skin was the taco part of it. So yeah, that was really interesting. So yeah, it was fun to work with the team. So does any council have any other suggestions of people they might connect with? I know you said you reached out to Tribal Health and Desiree Fox specifically, so I'm sure she connected you to our behavioral health staff there, or she would be the connection to them. Carol?
Yeah, Madam Chair, I was hoping that maybe the Defender's Office too. I wasn't sure. I didn't know if I heard them say Defenders. It seems like they've got some mental health people that deal with individuals over there. And then also the individual from Morningstar that does the casework might be somebody else that they could reach out to. But I really like to hear the idea of the suicide project. I'm really very much interested in finding out foods that, could possibly help in that situation. But yeah, I'm really glad you came here and presented, because it's all very interesting to me. And, it's like I never could understand the food sovereignty part of it, but I think it's starting to click with me now and understand the importance of it. So yeah, I just want to thank you.
There's another group. I'm trying to think of the name of them, but Martin, I believe April was a leader in that group. They had like a weekly session. It was for survivors of suicide. Do you remember the name of that group? It's like a healing group, but yeah, we can connect you with those individuals as well. I think April was the leader of that.
That's not the same as the Reasons to Live? No, okay. Thank you for-
That's the tribal health program, but this was a support group outside of that, but I'll think of the name.
Great. Thank you so much, Shelley. And also thank you for the note, Carol. I noted that there's Morning Star. There's a case study work that we can reach out to, and the Defender's Office. Jordan Thompson, we have reached out to him on another project that we presented 2 months ago to the council about the intellectual property management, because we developed the product. So there is the trade secret behind it. So there is the intellectual property behind it that we want to make sure that it's not going to be owned by the university or someone else. It should be owned by our tribal community. So that's why we reach out to him. But it's great that we knew that he is also working on the food sovereignty side, that will continue our discussion with him. So thank you for offering these suggestions. And then in terms of presenting more of each of the project, including the suicide prevention proposal, our goal is to launch a community presentation every year. So at the end of the year, we hope to assess the community members' interest using a native food survey. And then after that, we analyze the result. And then ideally, we present it by the beginning of the new semester, which is in August or September, October, in a community presentation format. Like we announce it to the entire community and we travel, if it's allowed, to be presenting in person. And then we just give updates of all the findings that we have and then propose research. So we are planning a community presentation sometime this fall semester. So that will include the various projects, their current progress and findings. So if you have any special requests and guidance on what we could do in the presentation, we would love to hear your insight on that as well.
Yeah, I think that would be a really exciting presentation. I know that I've talked with others like Virgil Dupuy over at SKC about doing some kind of a showcase about all these food projects that are going on in collaboration with MSU, the Boys and Girls Club, because there have been several. So I think that'd be a really cool thing to share with the community.
That would be wonderful. It's a great idea. Virgil is also very, very helpful to giving us advices, instructing us.
Any other input from council? Okay, well, we enjoyed your presentation and we will be in touch with all these contacts for you. So we'll go through Brenda with that. That work?
That
Thank
sounds
you.
great. Thank you, everybody. Lunch.
Thank you for the gifts.
We hope you like it. Thank you so much for the inside input that we got from you, learned from you today.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Madam Chair. Carol, do you recall getting a letter from Charlene Peel about,
I checked with Donna about that because I got a message from her and I asked Donna to find the letter because I never got the letter and she looked in her log and there was no receipt of it.
yeah, I think I've seen the letter and it was a request to be able to use LEAP. I don't even remember all the details, but she wants me to respond to her because she said it's been too long and she is feeling disrespected. So I can call her back, find out exactly what she wanted, but if it's LEAP, I will try to figure it out for them, for her.
Yeah, thank you for that. I had asked Donna to check into it and she couldn't find anything. Charlene Peel? No.
She lives with somebody and I think she wants to be able to get LEAP to help offset the cost of the home that she lives in. So I had one more thing before we leave for the day. I got a phone call from David Strohmeyer with the Missoula County Commissioners and a subsequent email. So tomorrow is the opening of the Western Montana Fairgrounds, and at 11 a.m. They're going to there's a ceremony. It's called the First Nations Family Day, and they're doing a ceremony for the Montana Tribal Nations flag installation. And I remember visiting with them a long time ago about this, like over a year ago. And their planning committee was someone outside of the county, so they kind of forgot about us. So Dave was saying, apologies, but there's a day at the fair. It's called First Nations Family Day, and they wanted us to, if we're able to, be able to participate in this flag raising. It's at 11 o'clock tomorrow. And I actually have I'm going to forward you this email right now. So if anybody can attend, it's in Missoula at 11 o'clock. So there's a press release. They're talking about First Nations Family Day hosted by the All Nations Health Center would be full of dance, music, education, and awareness. Fairgoers can enjoy Native American dance demonstrations at 1 and 3 p.m. in the historic plaza. And Dan Dubuque, a Native American acoustic slide guitarist, will perform at 5 in the Fairway Plaza. All Nations will host a booth where representatives will discuss the missing and murdered women, girls, and two-spirit relative epidemic, as well as opioid use prevention and proper medicine disposal. People are encouraged to support MMIWG by wearing red to the PRCA performance at 6:45, where MMIWG tribute video will be played, and families impacted by this will be honored during the opening ceremony. So it's free admission to the fair. So I just sent that press release to y'all.
Question. Do we know if Tony's going to be attending?
He can't. She sent this as well. And there's an elders advisory committee meeting tomorrow. Thompson
Oh, yeah,
replied to
that's
that.
right.
Yeah. Anita?
A few weeks ago, it might have been longer, Carol brought up the Indian National Finals Rodeo up here in Polson. And they were asking for donations. She did send a list of the other sponsors, and I think they're gonna be short. They're figuring it's gonna cost about $150,000 to put it on. But anyway, I think they got their paperwork in through Jen, but the problem is they were asking for 5,000 and I think it's capped at 25, right? So I don't know what council wants to do, but it's winding down. I think it's the end of the month. So if we are gonna donate,
Yeah, I think she told, Madam Chair, she told me yesterday that something had got canceled, so crows had increased to 600 and some people signed up, or that's where we're at today. Anyway, there's a lot of people signing up. And I just hope to hell we don't have to cancel it because of, what's going on here with the mask. But, I mean, it's outdoor stuff. So I don't know, but anyway, yeah, they better start getting geared up, I would think.
so I think her request was for 5. And it's capped at 25 through the committee, so I don't know if council wants to.
Go ahead, Lynn.
Yeah, I would support the request, just knowing that this is gonna be a huge event here. And it will bring a lot of, PR and notoriety for SK Gaming, so. I know asking for 5,000 is outside of the policy, so I would make that motion to make the donation of $5,000 to the SK Gaming Rodeo.
Okay, we have a motion by Len, second by Anita. Questions? Where's the money coming from? That's my question. All those in favor? Okay. I need a raise of hands. In favor, Lynn, Mike, Anita, Ellie, Carol. Opposed? Charmel, myself, Martin, abstain, Bing. Motion carries. Thank you.
Well, and I think Carol's concern was they weren't gonna have enough with sponsors and we didn't want to be standing there at the end of the month not being able to put it on, so.
Madam Chair,
Go ahead, Martin.
for the record, I voted against it because I don't know where the funding would come from. I support the event. Just need clarification. Thank you.
Same. And FYI, Rick went home sick today, so we can't call him in and ask him. Okay, are we good to go? Bing, motion to adjourn. Thank you. Oh.
I can sit up there. Sure. I got a call the other day from Julie Cajun, who said that she had a friend who was an educator in a school back east. And he was traveling through the area and it was kind of his charge to become a better teacher about tribal issues,